Hi there. Is buying a house always a good thing? Or there could be scenarios when buying a house is a big mistake. In this video, I want to discuss with you scenarios for which buying a house or even buying a home could be a big mistake. You might be excited thinking it is the right time to buy the home, but guys, there are scenarios when buying a house or even buying your home could be a mistake. Watch the whole of this video for you to understand why that is the case. And by the way, each and every day I'm out here bringing you awesome videos around real estate, investing, personal finance. If you love such kind of videos, kindly consider subscribing to this channel. Down there is a button called subscribe. Click on it, subscribe to join this family to be catching up on such awesome videos each and every day. Thanks for subscribing. Having said that, it is estimated that about 3 billion people gonna need access to adequate housing by 2030. That tells you about a third or about 30% plus of the world is gonna have a challenge with regards to them accessing adequate housing. That's globally. And even so, in country-specific context, the situation is the same. To give you an example, in Kenya, we even saw in the manifesto of the current government, when they were incoming in power, they actually talked a lot about affordable housing. Reason being, in Nairobi alone, with there being a population of about 5 million people, there is a shortage of housing upwards of 2 million because over 30% of the city population lives in slums. That's how insane it is. And even with that, that's why the government has an ambitious plan of building 100,000 units of houses in the city each and every year because there is a shortage. And with that also, coupled with the increasing economic pressures out here around people having little money, that leading even to some to jumping into homelessness, that tells you that's why owning a home is greatly coveted, not just in Kenya, but in many countries out there. People are out there going to look for home ownership. And in fact, we are living in an era whereby in case someone owns a house, that is considered as a big achievement, prestige. Fair enough. But the thing is this, guys. Do you really think owning a house is always a good thing? Personally, I think it could be an investment, but in some scenarios, it could be a very, very terrible investment, which actually could derail your entire life. And I'm saying so because I'm looking at it in light of three things. First of all, the competing needs someone else could be having out there. For example, if you only have 1 million Kenya shillings, that's the only money you have mbele na nyuma. You have debts, okay? You have other family needs. In case you put this entire money in owning a home, is it a wise move? Let's discuss shortly. Secondly, also think about human beings' lifespan. In case you have adequate cash, for example, to sustain your entire life even through rental, and maybe you are 50 years old, 60 years old, guys, is it the most ideal for you to own a house if you have been living your entire life just okay? Okay? And then the third big question is that, also, in the entire schemes of real estate and pricing, is it fair pricing all the time? Or maybe does capitalism kick in to actually pump up or increase the price of houses out there? That I'm not going to discuss in details in this video, but I have seen by traveling in different countries out there are countries where houses prices are actually inflated greatly. And I think Kenya, for example, has some houses out there whose price is straight up inflated. Because you go from some countries out there, like for example, Rwanda, South Africa, you can see very amazing houses priced fairly. Having said that, and also appreciating the context of more so young adults who are under economic pressures and many things to handle, these are the 5 scenarios for which owning a house or buying a house could be a very big mistake. Okay? Scenario number 1 is in case you are not sure about what your needs are. And I'm saying so because I'm thinking about the context of a young adult, for example. Maybe they are alone. Maybe they are courting someone out there, you name it. And if they rush to buy a house, will it be, for example, the ideal house for them, even 10 years from now? Thinking about them being strained of cash, in case they invest now, maybe they won't be able to buy any other house in the next 10 years, in the next 15 years? Will it be the most ideal scenario for them to buy a house? I don't think so. I think for them, it would be better, for example, to wait and then buy the house in the context of their opinion and also their future family's opinion. What do you all think? I think in case maybe they're buying their house, for example, to rent it out, it could be a better option. But if they're buying the house, banking on living in it for the long term, and then maybe they haven't factored in issues like the number of family members they'll be having and so forth, I think it could be a mistake. And then secondly, buying a house when someone is not financially ready. And I'm saying so because you could find, for example, someone out here going to buy a house and yet they can't afford it. In other words, they're going to strain for many, many years to be able to repair that particular house. I think that is straight up not a wise move. It could be a mistake in case someone uses that particular pressure to buy a house just because, for example, ex-friend of theirs have a house. For example, so-and-so is telling them to buy a house and yet they themselves are not financially ready. And then the third scenario for which buying a house could be a mistake is buying a house when the housing market is unstable. Guys, I'm pretty sure you've all heard that periodically there is the bursting of the bubble in real estate. The housing market sometimes gets quite crazy, and I'm talking about crazy in two contexts. First of all, when the market is unstable, we have very high price volatility. In other words, you could, for example, inquire about a house today, you're going to be told it's 1 million. Maybe inquire 1 month later, you're going to be told, for example, it's 1.5 million. That volatile movement of price is not ideal for a buyer. Reason being, they could end up paying abnormally high amount of price for a house. In other words, buy a house which is very overvalued. They're not getting the value for their money, okay? And secondly, in the context of housing market being unstable, also a person could greatly hurt from getting into floating mortgage. In other words, the kind of mortgage whereby you are given a loan to buy a house, but of course, you aren't in control of the interest rates. In other words, the interest rates are going to be moving according to countries or jurisdictions' economic situation. For example, the central bank increasing its bank rate, commercial banks also reciprocating, and even so, some commercial banks which have investing arms sensing how the housing market is faring on, they could adjust the mortgage. And you as a buyer, you're going to be in the receiving end. So it isn't always wise to buy a house when the housing market is unstable. And then the third scenario for which buying a house could be a mistake is you basically not getting a good deal. That's why even in my previous videos, I've advised you, if you don't know about the housing market, it doesn't hurt to get services or to go out there and inquire about services of an expert. Think about it. There are tons of real estate agents out there. These realtors out there know in and outs about a house, the materials that will be gone into building this house, and even so they can advise you if you're going to truly be getting value for your money or not. I think going out there to buy a house blindly without you really knowing if you're getting value for your money could also be a mistake, because you might even end up paying for a house more than twice its initial or ideal cost. So inquire. Get the comparison pricing around a particular area. Get insights from experts before you make a decision about buying a house. More so if you're financially ready and even so the market is favorable. And then the last scenario for which buying a house could be a mistake is you not being prepared for hidden costs and also responsibility which comes with ownership of a house. What do I mean? Most of the times, just beyond the buying price of a house, also there are hidden costs which a good number of people out there don't really inquire about in details. Things like, for example, property taxes. Things like, for example, insurance. Things like, for example, cost of maintenance and repair. All these could actually sum up to crazy annual maintenance amounts. So ensure you inquire and be very clear with regards to, and most importantly, be ready for hidden costs, and also be ready for the work which comes with owning a home. What do I mean? Some work like, for example, kayak work, daily security checks, ensuring your loans are good and so forth. Guys, this is work also which a good number of people out there ignore. And of course, if you're living there, you better ensure your house is in good shape and you maintain it. So those are the 5 scenarios for which I think buying a house could be a mistake. What do you think about this video? I think if you're not ready for these 5 things, it's better to continue renting or continue living in whichever arrangement you are living until that particular point in time when you are ready to buy a house or buy a home. Thanks a lot for watching. I look forward to share with you guys other awesome videos next time. Bye bye, and you all stay safe.